So ironically, for the Oklahoma Sooners, our first 2024 commitment was a defensive player at the skills spot. And after reading through a lot of your comments, I've been noticing a trend. You all want to know about the trenches. Well, we've talked about the defensive lineman in another video, but we haven't really dove into the offensive lineman that we're not only targeting, but looks like there's a lean towards us. So, to help with that, I decided to pick out 4 players on the offensive line that we are targeting in the 2024 class that looks like we've got a tilted lean towards us here at Oklahoma. And so we'll dive into Coach Bill Bedenbaugh's targets as well as a little bit of film. Let's talk about that coming up here in about 10 seconds. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jay here with Unfair Sports, where we take a pensive approach to the sports conversation. Thanks for pulling up to the YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to dive into the trenches. We're going to look at some offensive linemen, some tackles, as well as interior offensive linemen that we are targeting here at Oklahoma. And so make sure you stick around for each one as we'll go through their film. We'll look at their measurables, and I'll let you know what the projections are as far as us winning their services. So you definitely want to stick around to the end. But before we do that, you all know the drill. Hop in the comments and let your boy know what other positions or players would you like to hear about. I know that the trenches are key for you all, and so I'm going to dive into the offensive side since we've already done the defensive side. If you are new to the channel, hit that like, subscribe, and the bell notification, and join the family. We talk a lot of OU football, college football, and some Colorado football there as well, so we would love to have you tune in. Besides that, let's dive right into the trenches that Coach Bill Bedenbaugh is diving into himself and some of the players that are leaning towards coming to Oklahoma. I know you all are excited about our first commit in 2024. The floodgates will open, I promise you. And a lot of the high-profile players that we're going after are still doing a little bit of window shopping. That is, of course, the Coach Brent Venables system. He wants players to go see the world before coming back and locking it in. So, unfortunately, you won't see an early commitment unless they're done doing their official visits. Now, with Jeremiah Newcomb, he decided that he wanted no official visits because Oklahoma was for him, which is exciting. At the same time, when you're competing against some of the big dogs like your Alabamas, your Georgias, your Ohio States, there's going to be those situations where, unfortunately, those players are going to look around still. So we're not going to probably get an early commitment, but I do expect one to come here right after the spring game. So let's jump into some of these players, talk through measurables, as well as look at a little film while we talk about them, all right? First player on our list, we're going to go with Casey Poe. Now, I know a lot of you have heard about Casey Poe, interior offensive lineman, about 6'5", 200, about 85 pounds, out of Lindale, Texas. And he has been trending toward Oklahoma for like the last couple of months. So he's definitely someone to be excited about. He is a consensus 4-star athlete, top 150 player in the country. So that's definitely somebody to be ecstatic about landing. He's got a lot of offers from all the big programs, so that tells you that he is coveted. So that means he's someone that you're going to want here to play at Oklahoma. The other thing I want to remind you, be careful looking at stars when it comes to offensive linemen that come to Oklahoma. I put up a short not too long ago. You can check that out. Coach Bill Bedenbaugh has done a fantastic job of recruiting offensive linemen regardless of the stars. And because of that, we give him grace in him deciding on who's best to come to the team. Heck, Creed Humphreys was a 3-star prospect. Keep that in mind out of Shawnee, Oklahoma. And he's considered the best center in the NFL today and has 2 rings. So, because of that, we're not going to look at stars like that. We're going to look at the film itself. As you can watch Casey doing his thing, running people over, knocking them down, pushing and grinding his way to getting those yards, because what we need is offensive linemen. It's going to open those holes for those running backs and protect our quarterbacks. That way we can go up and put up those yards and keep that top 13 offense coming down. And Casey Poe has those capabilities. Right now, he's trending heavily to Oklahoma. I'm looking at on threes RPM right now, and it looks like he's roughly at about a 35, about 33, 34% coming to Oklahoma. But we've already seen that overall, Oklahoma is known as O-Line U. We produce some great offensive linemen and we get them paid. So because of that, I'm very confident of any player on this list I'm going to show you that we will land KC Poe here at Oklahoma. He'll come up from Lindale, Texas and become a Sooner and probably go out there and dominate as well. So you should be excited about that. Our next player on this list is going to be Bennett Warren. Now, Bennett's a big boy. Look at these stats and measurables here. 6'7", 330 pounds of monstrosity out of Sugar Land, Texas. So he's in the Houston area. There's a lot of schools that want him. Every Texas school wants him, of course. You got the Houstons, you've got Texas, you got A&M, all of them, horns down as usual. They're looking at this prospect. Now, Bennett is an offensive tackle, 4-star consensus across the board, and he is a top 200 player as well in the country, right around in the 160 to 170 range, depending on which site you go to. And if you watch him in this film, that man can scoot, and he's got power, and he's huge. So that's another thing that Oklahoma is infamous for, is these big old linemen that are kind of man-childs that manhandle everybody else. Gives me those vibes of some of the greats that we had come through here. Probably one of the best ones we've seen is from the Orlando Brown to your Trent Williams. That's probably your measuring stick of great tackles we've had here at Oklahoma. And I think Bennett Warren can do that for us. He looks like the trend is that he is trending lightly here as far as the 24/7 polls go. So I think that we have a good chance of winning him in the trenches. Watch him just go up the field. Just watch him knock some folks over. Pancakes everywhere. And so if we can get a player like him, reminding us of Caden Green, whenever we picked him up from in the Kansas area, this would be a huge pickup for the Sooners. And I think we have a really good chance of picking him. So I think he's second on the list of players I think that we could definitely land coming here. So keep an eye out for Bennett Warren. Next one on the list, Caden Massey. Now, Caden Massey's tall, but he's thin. But I think he has the frame to put on this weight. He's listed at 6'8", about 255 pounds, out of Linden, Kansas. So he's a Kansas player. We've done a really good job of recruiting in Kansas, especially with Coach Brent Venables being from the Kansas area. Still's got ties. Now, Caden is a consensus 3-star offensive lineman. He is a tackle ranked in the top 1,000 in the country. He is one player that is slowly coming up the ranks. If I'm correct, he doesn't even play 11-man football because of where he's located out there in Linden, Kansas. Now, don't fret. We've seen players like that, and we brought them in, and we've done some magic with them. So don't worry about that portion of it. The thing to look at is the skill set. So as you watch this film on Caden, ask yourself, do you see this player doing well at the Division I level? I do. With his size, his frame looks like he can add additional pounds. 6'8", I mean, it's a big old dude. And we've got a few more of those monsters here at Oklahoma, and so he'll have players to be able to sharpen his iron with. Iron sharpens iron. He can come in here, really learn how to play at this level and grow. And I think Schmitty can get him in the gym, and boy, if he's willing to work like I'm expecting him to be willing to work, he's going to do some wonders for us. So he'll add to an offensive line that is infamous for sending players to the pros and do nothing but magical things. Right now, we got a crystal ball for Kaedin Massey not too long ago. And so my expectation with him is that he's going to pick Oklahoma. He's third on my list, but I should actually move him to second right before Bennett because of that crystal ball coming down the line. It really does feel like he's going to commit to Oklahoma soon. And when he decides to be a Sooner, he'll be done with his visits and we'll be ready to bring him in, most likely as an early enrollee. He seems like the type of cat that wants to come in early, get his training in, and make the magic happen. So I'm pretty excited about him as a prospect. Caden Massey out of Linden, Kansas. Make sure you keep an eye out for him. You know I'm going to drop some info on him as I find out, but that is another prospect there. Now, the last one on the list we've got is Grant Brix. Now, Grant is out of Logan, Iowa, Logan Magnolia High School. And what intrigues me about him is that he is in Iowa. And Iowa is a school that is known for producing some offensive linemen that y'all didn't even know went there. And because of that, definitely a good school for him to go to. If we can snatch him up, that is nothing but a huge W for the Sooners. Now, Grant is 6'6", 270 pounds of raw man. he is out there as a interior offensive lineman that I think could do some special stuff for us as well. He is a consensus 4-star player in the top 220 in the country. He's leaning, a lot of the recruiting sites is leaning him towards like Iowa or Kansas State, but I've also seen some leans towards Oklahoma as well. So I put him 4th on my list because of that. But as you watch this film and see this man move, he can scoop, he can hit, he can go. Pancakes everywhere. And that's what we're looking for when we grow in this offensive line, especially with the run game that we're going to want to produce and the high tempo we have with Coach Levy. The good thing about some of these young players is they'll probably see some playing time early because of the way they will be rotating those linemen in and everything based upon the scenarios. He's another one of those players that I think can produce. I need a lineman that can push up the field and do well on the run as well as the pass, and it looks like Grant has the capabilities of doing that. I have seen some leans toward us, like I mentioned before, so I do believe we have a good chance of landing this type of talent. So keep your eyes out for Grant Brix. I think that we haven't got a chance to land him. He's 4th on my list for that reason. That right there, my friends, is offensive linemen, guys in the trenches that we are looking at and hoping to win. I wanted to drop something for you all to talk about because I've seen in the comments, I'm hearing you loud and clear. You want to know about some more trench guys because to you all, if we can get the trenches and continue to win that like we always do, that's an opportunity to push for a national championship. So that's some trench guys that I feel like we can win. There's a lot more offers out there. I'm eventually going to get down the line of doing something on all the offers we have, just so that we can kind of have some people to talk about. Probably just make a whole short volume of the targets and offers that we've put out there, just because it'll be just, we don't know if we're going to win them or not. So hop in the comments, let your boy know what you think about those trench guys. Which ones do you think we can win? Who do you feel confident about? And name me some other players you want me to check out. I'll gladly go watch some film, make a video on it, and talk about them, all right? If you're new to the channel and you've made it this far, hit that like, subscribe, and the bell notification. You may as well do it. You've made it here. Show some love. Help me with the algorithm. That is very critical to us content creators of getting those likes. It really does help us long-term in growth. So thanks for tuning in. YouTube has a couple videos in front of me you need to go ahead and pick. I recommend checking out another video while you're here. We'll talk about a day or two. Peace.